Rise up, the Dukes are back, and now it's time to rise up. The crew is back, and now it's time to rise up. The Dukes are back, and now it's time to rise up. Rise up, rise up. The Dukes are back, and now it's time to rise up. The crew is back, and now it's time to rise up. The Dukes are back, and now it's time to rise up. Rise up.
And we're back to the D's on Fire podcast.
I wouldn't have been able to do that with my last chair. I bought a new office chair. Didn't roll as smoothly, but this glides and I'm on carpet.
You're on carpet.
Yeah, and it roll and
that
it
was
slid.
real impressive then.
I know.
I'm on hardwood and I don't think it would go as smoothly as that did. Mixed bag from this past week. Women's basketball looked solid at the end and had a tough loss on, what was it? Actually, we talked about that on the last pod, I think. The VCU game. Pretty sure we did.
Yes. Yeah.
So women's team played well this past week. Men's team, they had another win.
So.
Yeah, and then they did not look that great in the last game. Results don't necessarily matter, but I thought we built an offensive identity finally, and then we went away from it again. So, I don't know.
Offensive identity or team identity?
I mean both. The defensive identity is still there. The offensive, they got a little too into the threes again this past week. And it worked for one game, and it buried them in this game.
Yeah. Davidson game was, the biggest thing that I saw that was shocking when I compare my eyeballs to the box score, I felt in the game that the turnovers were really bad from Duquesne, but they only had 9 turnovers as a team, which is not that bad, but they felt like in such crucial moments. Yeah. Is that odd? Like, I thought they were just kind of being very careless with the basketball.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's
9
obviously,
turnovers seems really low.
I know. They had more in the Rhode Island game.
I mean, the 2 players that didn't get as many minutes as they usually do were the 2 senior guards, Trey and Day. Trey Williams also got his minutes cut in this one, especially in the second half, and that's because Drame just played so well.
You had to play the hot hand, yeah.
Yeah.
I texted you during the game. He single-handedly kept it close.
Jake DeMichael had some say in that as well.
Yeah,
but when I say we're shooting too many threes, I love DeMichael, but he's also part of that problem because he keeps shooting them, and they're not falling that well. Still,
I have numbers to go through later.
Those have to be ugly numbers for his 3.
Well, no, well, yes and no. We'll get to it.
All right. Dan Brock had some harsh words in the post-game presser for Trey, particularly, where he said Trey should be the best defender in the conference, and he's not necessarily even the best defender on a game-to-day basis. And Dan Brock said that's on him for not coaching him correctly for this season, because Trey should be the best defender in this conference. So, I mean, I kind of agree. I thought he was potentially a defensive player of the year for the conference last year. And this year, I really have never thought of him in that respect.
His steal numbers are still there, but he probably means like on the ball and off the ball defending, not just steals.
Yeah, he did mention that the steals were still there, but from a standpoint of shutting down the other team's guard, I guess
he probably said that after Davidson because they could do whatever they wanted in the paint.
Yeah, that's correct. And there was a lot of cuts that we did not guard properly in that Davidson game.
No, they run a pretty high level college basketball offense, to be honest.
Yeah, but Dan Brott did mention they've been running that offense for so many years, because even though the son's coaching now, it was the same offense from his dad who coached there for at least 20 years, probably longer than that. The McKillops. And I mean, I don't know. We also played badly against Davidson last year, but it felt more crushing last year. And I think that reason is just because I'm still so far on the results don't matter bandwagon. If they truly did matter, this probably would have put me down bad.
I don't know. They kept it close, like I said earlier, for a little bit. But I never felt like they were gonna overcome the deficit. And I think that might be the reason why I thought there were a lot of turnovers, because then they would turn the ball over or something dumb would happen and the lead would go. They would cut it to 5, then it would go back to 8 or go back to 7 or go back and then increase to 11 or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was pretty frustrated with this loss, to be honest with you.
I agree. I like I said, I think the only reason that I'm
They
not
didn't shoot well.
no,
They shot 43% from the field, 30% from 3. They made their free throws. They got there 20 times, hit 18 of them. So that was a big reason why as well. But they could just blow by pretty much any of our perimeter defenders at will
which
and outmuscle them.
which should not be the case. I think from an athleticism standpoint, our players are more athletic than all of Davidson's players.
But I think they also said on the broadcast, which was a good point, they are way bigger than us on the perimeter. Like
Yeah.
all their guys were
Oh,
probably at least 6'5" or 6'6"
they're all
across the board.
interchangeable. Yeah,
Right.
there's any of them could play any position really. By the way, the analyst that I shouted out last week was on this week again. Courtside.snow is his Instagram handle.
He's
Noah
very good.
Noah Buono. Yeah, I think he is too.
He reminds me, he's got the same exact voice of Stanford Steve.
He
Does
does
he
have
not?
he does have a similar voice to Stanford Steve.
Yeah. That's
You're
all I think about when he talks, which is a good thing because Stanford Steve is awesome.
um
But
yeah.
yeah, it's a good an improved broadcasting crew with the three of them. Because he actually, he talks ball.
Yeah.
They sometimes talk more about the Steelers
Steelers.
than the actual
Yeah, they
game.
make
Yeah.
a lot of Steelers references. So Noah does add some actual ball
Don't get
knowledge.
mad at me, Pittsburgh fans. Okay, I'm just calling it like it is. I'm not mad about just because it's the Steelers. It's just we're not talking about basketball. It's really the thing.
I mean, if you want to talk basketball, we can talk the Charlotte Hornets trading their team away, or the 76ers trading away Pat Bev after losing Embiid. And
I don't care about Pat Bev. That
oh
that doesn't
no,
bother me. Yeah, a lot of people liked him, but yeah, I'm sorry to hear about PJ Washington. That was
well,
on a
PJ
good contract and
PJ
young.
Rozier gone, Gordon
Oh yeah,
Hayward
Rozier too.
Gordon
Gordon.
Hayward gone.
That was probably a good trade though, Gordon Hayward.
Well, I mean, all of them were like we
They're
could
all good trades probably in the long term, but
yeah.
the
Uh,
PJ Washington is one, like, he's a young guy that he could still be part of this crew. So
he could, but it felt like he should have taken another step and he didn't. So it is what it is. You got max value, I think.
you
Uh,
got Grant Williams, right?
Grant Williams and Seth Curry and I think a first. Yeah, 2027 first. That is top 2 protected. So we're probably going to take a pick because I don't think a Luca led team is going to be first or
It's a
second.
good trade.
Yeah.
Solid. What can you do?
So yeah. Um hopefully we can get some A10 talent in the NBA and maybe join the Hornets. There were talks on Twitter. I know you aren't on social media, so I'll bring this up to the attention of Day Day and Trey Clark's NBA potential with all the A10 guards that are suddenly getting some minutes in the NBA, including Gilliard from Richmond.
Day no.
I agree with you. I just don't think he's complete enough to play in the NBA. He could
Yeah.
he could, if his shot was consistent, maybe he could be like a G League / NBA bench
I
player.
think his shot will probably improve. Um, but
The
for that to
defense,
be
the
your
defending, and
yeah, for that to be like your go-to trait as a prospect and it's kind of streaky, like that's not great if that's your best basketball trait.
yeah.
But
So,
I think he will get better. He could probably ball in the G League for a little bit and maybe work his way up. But I don't think he'll be on an NBA team.
but Trey Clark, still holding firm that I could see him being a guard in the NBA.
Also, maybe. They're yeah,
They
he's
are,
closer, but I still don't think so. He's just a little undersized for a
yeah.
point. He's a little undersized.
Well, if we're talking undersized, I was gonna say David Dixon maybe, but no, he's way
He's
undersized.
also undersized. Yeah.
Way undersized.
This whole team is kind of, unless you're like a stretch four, you're kind of undersized.
Yeah. Speaking of stretch fours, Savrasov put in some solid minutes in both games. Uh, Dusan, who we said he should be filling in for, did not look good and did not play after his first stints in both games. Perhaps that will change and he won't play any minutes. And Savrasov will actually get some minutes. What do you think?
I wrote in my notes. I hate like sounding like a broken record, but I said in the second half, Savrasov is being so aggressive. I will never understand why he got DNPs. I
I
won't
mean,
understand it.
he defends well too. Like don't even have that to
Yeah.
say that he was a liability on defense. He was probably one of our better defenders that game.
I remember there was a drive. I have no idea who it was. It could have been Hoffman. Could have been whoever.
Could have been any of them. They're interchangeable.
They're all the same sized white guy. I mean, it's hard to tell, but um, what was excuse me, I
Noah.
forget it.
Yeah.
Noah, the announcer said it too. Like Savrasov played great one-on-one defense. Guy drove into the paint from 3-point line,
Fresh
like
off the
was in his
bench.
face. Yeah, and the shot went in, but he was totally right. Savrasov was shuffling his views right on his hip, contested the shot. So I mean, he, like you said, played good defensively as well.
Yeah. Nekis, Dan Bratz mentioned that he likes keeping him out there because he likes his defensive game. I mean, I do too, but I don't know if I think he played a lot more than he should have in the second half. Just because he played a longer stint than Savrasov did whenever they got subbed in. Like Nekis was on, they subbed Savrasov on, they subbed Savrasov off. Nekis stayed out there for it seemed like another 5 minutes. That was a
You're
long.
exactly right. Yeah, I'm 6 minutes. I'm looking at the box score. Savrasov's clocked in 7 minutes. Nekis with 13.
Yeah, that was
That should definitely be swapped minimum. And
so,
then Mohorčić played 3 minutes, and that should probably go 0, and you add more to Savrasov's minutes.
yeah.
I don't know. I think that guy can help you win.
I also thought
Like
it was
he
funny.
clearly came into the game and where we were probably, I think we were down double digits, and that's when Fusini started to go off. But Savrasov was also on the floor when that happened.
Yeah, I thought it was funny that Dixon got taken out after he got his first foul when it was like halfway through the second half, and he still got pulled after one foul. Uh, just kind of
I,
a reactionary thing.
I think it's reactionary, but I also think it states like he's definitely by far our most trusted five, and Dan Broad knows it.
Yeah,
Like he doesn't feel entirely comfortable putting pretty much anyone else out there
no,
for over like, I don't know, a 4 minute stretch.
I mean offensively, he's definitely our best five option as well.
Yeah. I mean he's turning on he's got some good feet now, like in the post a little bit.
And
Does some nice up and unders.
he's going up powerfully too. He's not
Yeah,
shying away from contact anymore.
which Mohorčić does. Sorry. Yeah, I'm just not. I've not liked any basketball that I've seen from Mohorčić pretty much.
I'm gonna say this: the two pregame hypes for big men the past 2 years was Chabi and Mohorčić. I got super excited buying into that hype. Told you about it,
Sold me on it.
and then immediately got just completely turned around because of their performances. I still think Chabi could develop into something, and he's shown some good minutes when he's used rarely, but whenever he's on there for a long period of time, that's where he's going to get into trouble because he's still not ready for it.
Yeah, that's why I said kind of that 4 minute mark. I feel like is when you're like testing fate almost. But he's been good off the bench. I would say like off the bench role, pretty good. Starting, not so much.
Honestly, it kind of doesn't seem to matter who we have in the starting lineup. It doesn't go well. Like our first stint of guys is not playing all that well.
What do you think of Rozier coming off the bench last 2 games?
I think it actually is helpful. He it
I
it
know we kind of said that we liked it, but just
yeah,
bringing it up again.
it didn't it doesn't happen as much as I'd like, but he hit another mid ranger in the Davidson game over in the from the corner and cutting in, and it looks so pure when he shoots that mid range shot.
Yeah,
So with him coming off the bench, when there's not as many offensively dominant guards who can create, I think that's a good role for him to be on the floor for. Um,
yep.
so yeah, I do think that's probably best for the team as a whole. Whenever Day Day or Trey's needs a break, that should be when he comes on and kind of helps carry the load.
I agree.
Uh,
Pretty much agree. Spot on.
yeah,
I just know you're a bigger Rozier lover than I am, so
I
that's why it feels like there's pain in your heart when you say it.
there is. I still think he's obviously a future contributor. I think he's going to be starting next year probably, unless there's a major recruit or transfer that I don't know about that's coming in. Um, but I think he's probably the point guard next year, and then we'll have DeMichael and who knows as the three alongside them. Um, but this year, I still think that honestly, Trey Clark is our best point guard option. If we're going to max out our potential, which we need to do to be the best team we can be, we need Trey Clark playing point and playing as best as he can. Because if he can cut down on turnovers, which he has done, then that's the key to our team actually making a run at doing something that nobody else in the A10 thinks we can do.
I think he should at this point because his shooting is just hasn't been as good as last year,
Yeah.
like all season. I kind of just think he should really just get into setting up guys because I think he's really good at it when he wants to be. Said a bunch that he's good at setting up the big guys down low. I think we should start kicking out, do the drive and kick game, and I think he can make those passes. I
And
think he should just. I think I'll look it up right now. What's his assist stat for the season? This is pre Davidson. He's averaging where the heck is it? 3.6 assists a game. Feel like that can tick up to 5 like pretty easily. Like less shots and then just set up other people for wide open shots because you're a guy who can consistently beat his own man, and then it's a 4-on-5
yeah,
situation.
and if they don't come over to help, then yeah, take the open layup that you're going to get. But
Right.
you're always going to draw help because you've been driving past people for 2 straight years now.
Yeah, he's got such a quick first step. Love his first step. Loves when he gets downhill. Good things happen when he's downhill.
And defensively, if he's challenged to really focus on the best guy, I mean, he has the ability to truly take it to the next level. That's why I still think he does have that NBA potential.
He has
Uh,
the ability. I think he was probably better last year. Overall, I think he was a little bit better last year. I think he's been better. Like I like the point trade version that we've gotten. I just think if he got into that a little bit more, then maybe I would feel differently.
yeah,
at this point in the season because the shooting just hasn't really. I thought it would improve, but it just hasn't really gotten there.
I do want to bring up the highlight of the week, which went viral, mostly for one of his friends' reactions to it. The behind the back, and then as he referred to it, tween the legs move on a drive, which ended up with the ball going out of bounds. But if he had finished that with a dunk or even a layup, that would have been an ESPN top 10 play.
Yeah, no doubt. Tween the legs.
Tween. I'm gonna. You know what? For all you listeners out there, I'm gonna put in the audio of the viral clip right here. Shout out to Bo Dilly, who who went and got viral and all over social media because of that reaction. Alec, I might actually text you the link to that one because I mean he's rocking a cowboy hat. He is doing some celebration dance moves that I've never seen before. It was good video.
I'm good for it.
Um, I'm trying to think of anything else from the guy's side. Um, I was most impressed with us last week that we got like a 30-minute pod recapping like 5 or 6 games. That was probably the shortest pod we've done in a year, and it was the most
Yeah,
games we probably covered in a year, and it's because we couldn't possibly cover all those games in detail. We just went based off of general reaction.
yeah. It's kind of funny how it works that way. And for the record, I wasn't able. I texted you this. I don't know what it is about USA Network, but I can't watch a game on USA Network, even though I use a cable. It's a whole thing. I won't get into it, but yeah, I wasn't able to watch the Rhode Island game. So you can talk a little bit about that if you want to wrap up the men.
I mean, they were just the better team.
I
Uh,
saw Day Day was on fire,
Day
obviously.
Day was on fire. He got his 2000th point. Um,
That's very cool.
he was automatic from the free throw stripe still. Um, he hit a few threes. He was in his game. And then it was so odd that he was in his game on the road, and then we come back home and he basically was shut out for the most part.
Yeah.
I think he had a basket or two and kind of garbage time again. Um, I don't know. But Rhode Island, we were just truly the better team. If we kept feeding David Dixon the ball down there and he wasn't in foul trouble, he would have just dominated that game. Our guards could have dominated that game. We just are a better team than Rhode Island. That's kind of how I viewed it. And we made shots. When our Even when we haven't shot the ball well, when we're taking good shots against A10 teams, those are the games we're winning. When we're taking
Yeah.
those open looks, um, we didn't do that really in Davidson. The offense wasn't nearly as fluid.
No, yeah, that's something I guess we can talk about with the Davidson game. It looked so clunky out there on offense. Nothing was easy. Everything was difficult. And then you compare it, it's hard to compare it to when you're watching Davidson play on offense and all the movement that you see, guys cutting, backdoor cuts, um,
I mean, it's not like Davidson
screening.
shot the ball super well. We still held them to 60 some points, but it
72.
oh, that's right. They got yeah.
But
But
that, I mean, the last,
yeah,
2 minutes was just foul, Hack
yeah.
City.
But we just they were able to move, like just move in general freely, as opposed
Yeah.
to our offense.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that Noah talks about. The elite basketball players in the NBA, they're great at just moving freely around the court, regardless of what barriers are in the way.
Like, it's so funny because what I'm about to say, like, Davidson's offense at the college level is like somewhat of a version of the Warriors offense in the NBA with all the movement and cutting that all the players do. The Warriors are looking for threes. Davidson's not necessarily looking for that.
Yeah, I'd
but
say it's kind of the opposite on what the results they want, but
the results, but the movement is kind of similar, I would say.
yeah, no, that's very interesting, and it's crazy that they've been doing it this long and nobody's able to stop it. But same thing's true with the Warriors. So
Yeah, they just kicked the Sixers ass on Wednesday night. Holy crap, I can't believe I watched that full game. They lost by 30, I think.
yeah, and you guys had the cool off the backboard alley oop when you were down 20. I'm
Oh
sure you
God.
loved watching
Oh
that.
man. I can't, so that made it to social media, I guess.
Yeah, they said that Embiid's out and now the Sixers are the Wizards, and they did a side by side of the Wizards doing that earlier this year.
Oh, that
Similar
hurts.
situation.
Damn, that hurts. This, oh, there was someone out there. Kenny Lofton Jr. maybe is his name.
Lofton, yeah, he was a former Bonnie, I think.
Was he like a really big guy? Kind of like undersized but thick. I don't know. He's on the G League, whatever, for the Sixers, and I was like, this guy's an NBA player. It was nuts. Yeah, we had no names on the basketball court in the fourth quarter.
I don't think that can't be the same guy because Lofton he was not thick.
Let me
Uh,
see if I can find this guy.
I pulled him up. Grizzlies, Sixers, Louisiana Tech. All right, different guy. But yeah, I'm looking at him now. He is a tank. Uh,
What? You said he went to Louisiana Tech.
yeah, Louisiana Tech Bulldogs. Um,
Yeah, apparently he's a 76er. But yeah, yeah, it's been rough as a Sixers fan lately.
speaking of random guys playing in the NBA, shout out to the Memphis Grizzlies who have 13 injured players right now. Have like a lineup of 9 guys with a bunch of two-way deals and 10-day contracts.
I heard about that. Yeah, that stinks for them because when healthy, they have a fun team to watch.
Yeah.
Feel bad. Yeah, I guess we're not the Grizzlies. I
Yeah,
guess I can look at it that way.
you're not the Hornets who are
That's true.
tanking for not Wemby now because we missed out on him.
I don't even know. This draft is so bad that I haven't even heard who the projected number one pick is.
Yeah, I don't know either. But I am excited that Brandon Miller has looked good. Uh,
I said
Lamelo,
I liked that pick for you when it happened. You were against it.
I wanted Scoot. I'm very glad that I was dead wrong, as wrong as I
You're
could
not dead
possibly
wrong.
be.
We're halfway through one rookie year.
Yeah, but Scoot has played minutes in the G League, Alec.
Yeah, but yeah, I wouldn't read too much into that
All
just
right.
yet.
Um,
Let's get to the women, I guess.
yeah, they team that starts 5,000 career point players officially after their latest W on the road at UMass. Niall Bernard and Meg McConnell, the walking triple double herself, added to their tallies to get to that 1,000 point mark, joining Tess Myers, uh, Amaya Hamilton, and Yanni. Um, well balanced team. They any game another player could go off for them, and
Hmm.
that's including the bigs where Precious Johnson and Yanni Townsend kind of switch between which one's going to go off for 20 that day. Um, and then Amaya occasionally chips in another 15 to 20 on her own whenever they need it. It truly is coming down to uh, in all of the games that they're winning in conference play, they're defending the perimeter well and they're making about 50 to 60% of their shots. In the losses, they're taking poor shots and they're not guarding the perimeter well. So the game plan's there. It's
So
just
the key is your offense should be good and your defense should be good.
yeah. If you
Huh.
score
Okay.
more points than the other team, you should win the game. Uh, but seriously, the game that they lost to VCU, they could not stop the one girl from making threes. In the game against George Mason, where they let them score 100, they did not
Right.
guard the perimeter, and the George Mason shot like 50% from three that game. And then St. Joe's, that was actually a good game. There was just two really good teams, and St. Joe's
Yeah.
home.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, those three losses are to the teams that are above them in the standings, and they need to get that top four spot to get the double bye, to better their chances to winning and getting to the NCAA tournament. So very important game going on right now for that. Duquesne would prefer if Richmond lost tonight against St. Joe's, and if that happens and they beat Richmond another time and get Richmond in their third loss, they're probably going to bump into the top four. So, yes,
Yeah, that'd be huge.
I am results focused when it comes to the women's team, who maybe record wise don't deserve an at large bid because of their non con play, but they could actually win the tournament if they get that double bye. So, really focused on that race.
Yeah, and Megan McConnell only logged 32 minutes in the UMass game. Do you think
Yeah, coach
how happy do you think she was?
coach clearly needed to run her after the game to get her conditioning up.
Yeah.
I just think they remember. They won't care at this point. If you played less than, I'm gonna say, 20 minutes, you hated that because the next morning you had to run and go on the bike and just do extra cardio work, literally throughout the entire season. When I was
Really?
a practice player, yeah. So those girls did not want their minutes cut beyond that point. Now,
All right, 20 is the magic number. I didn't know that. That's good inside
yeah.
information.
So all the freshmen that were barely getting minutes, that was a lot of cardio that season.
Lot of bike riding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I doubt Meg is gonna get that treatment based off of what Zach's reported and her minutes being, she was first in the NCAA. I don't know if I think she would be just after one game of 32.
Yeah, I checked it probably 3 weeks ago, and she was number one. I don't know how recently you have, but I mean, yeah, one game at 32. That wouldn't tank your average.
No. And she's gone well over 40 on multiple occasions this year, because anytime it goes into overtime, she's got more than 40 minutes played.
God, that stinks. I think of Tyrese Maxey too, who's like top 5 in minutes. That was with Joel Embiid. That's not because of the injury. Just so people know, it's because he plays for Nick Nurse.
Well, to be fair, he might actually get less minutes now if they keep losing by that.
Well, they also gave him some help because he's just the only guy who can initiate the offense like with any sort of dribbling. That's why Pat Bev is gone, because he couldn't really do that. Although he played well for Pat Bev. He just can't initiate an NBA offense like super well.
Pat Bev is a great role player. You guys just couldn't use him in that role.
He's really like a backup shooting guard. Like that's really what he should be, an undersized shooting guard, and he was playing backup point guard for us.
Right.
That's the issue.
And the Bucks need him to be that.
A lot of NBA
guard.
talk in this pod. I like it.
Yeah, we're gonna mix this in more, especially if the Dukes continue to lose the game before we start the pod, because got to keep some positive vibes going.
Let's talk about something I really know, some NBA. Kidding.
But from women's basketball standpoint, Journey is still adding to the team by constantly driving, drawing and ones. Niall Bernard had a few and one opportunities in this last game. They're cutting to the rim. They're not settling for 3-pointers as much anymore. It's basically exactly the same recipe that I wanted the guys to do, and they still haven't done that. But the girls did, and it's changed their entire outlook on this season.
That's amazing. Yeah. 52% from the field, 46% from three against UMass, and 73% from the line, which is pretty good as a team. I mean, you're probably looking to shoot above 70% as a team.
Yeah, and I mean those numbers are actually kind of lower than they were because we had a bunch of backups in.
Yeah.
So their shooting it wasn't terrible, but it wasn't as good as what the starters were doing to build up that lead. So it was Duquesne Day of Giving, and I was thinking of doing a $10 for every point we led by donation. And then after the guys lost, I said, you know what, the women are just getting $100. So that was my Duke Day of Giving donation. Thanks, thanks, Coach Burt, for letting me continue to have some entertainment with basketball.
No, it's huge.
So, oh, and if you go to women's games, they have some great giveaways like this free Duquesne basketball jersey. Got the 00.
It's sick, yeah.
I gotta figure out how to frame that and add it to the wall behind me. I did get a Duquesne pennant for my birthday, so got some Duquesne memorabilia on the wall finally.
And wearing a Duquesne,
Oh yeah,
some Duquesne merch.
I I tried to often. Last pod, I think I wore Morgan and Morgan attire, but usually it's Duquesne, I'd say.
I only just got I actually asked for Duquesne gear for Christmas because the stuff that I had, we'll say I won't say that it didn't fit anymore. I won't say that, but
It's a little
so I
dated.
need,
It's a little
yeah,
dated.
it's dated. Yeah, I'm not my body is not in college form. I'll say.
Yeah. Um, yeah, you're usually rocking some Sixers gear. It's kind of ironic that the pod that we talk most about the NBA, you're not rocking Sixers gear.
Yeah, today I don't know. It's kind of that throwback weather where it's like 50s here in Philly lately. Um, so it's not too hot, not too cold. So went with the throwback sweatshirt today.
Yeah. Um,
No free ads.
yeah, all those paying advertisers are gonna be real ticked off about that one. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I wanted to mention. Um, covered all the social media topics. Oh, there's a lot of speculation going on about whether Dambrot is going to be coaching beyond this year. Um, and if he's not, whether they'll do a big search or just kind of keep the progression going by hiring Drew as the replacement coach. I
Gotta swallow it.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Uh, I guess they have to do a search. Like even if they are leaning towards Drew as the natural replacement, I think they would still have to like see what's out there, right?
I wouldn't mind. I mean, was it 8 years?
Dambrod, when did he come in? 20 was it 2016?
Did he come in my senior year or right after?
I think it was right after.
Then that would be 2018 or the start of the 2017-2018 season.
Yeah, I think that's when he came in. So he's been here about 6 or 7 years now. Um, Drew's been here for 2, but he's definitely been groomed to be the replacement. I mean, he's been doing post-game interviews with the coach occasionally. He's been getting a lot of praise and a lot of media attention. Um, and Dambrot's longtime assistant coach became Cleary's head coach when Drew joined the coaching staff. So I think that's clear what Dambrot is hoping for. And really, I mean, Dambrot obviously has other reasons why he wants to win, but he the better the team does with Dambrot as coach, the better Drew's chances are of becoming his successor.
Yeah, that all makes sense. Anytime I think of the coaching search, I said this last season, I just think about Tim Legler every single time because he said that was the only college basketball interview he got was with us. And the more I listen to him on podcasts, the more I'm like, this dude's obsessed with basketball. And
I
it would
don't
just
think
be
he's.
kind of cool.
You think he'd want to come back and coach Duquesne at this point?
I don't know. No, I'm not. I'm just saying, like, I mean, yeah, why he wanted to coach really badly, and he just like wasn't getting the opportunity.
Yeah. I guess it. You know what? I'm gonna say this, Bryce. It's all on you. You don't come here. I don't know. Might have to go
He's
to
got
different regular.
he's got the A10 connection with LaSalle.
Yeah. Uh, man, there's so many disappointing A10 teams this year. I thought LaSalle was going to be better. I thought Duquesne was going to be better. I thought Fordham was going to be better. I thought St. Bonaventure was going to be better. Um, Rhode Island I thought was going to be bad, and St. Louis I thought was going to be bad. But outside of that, it just seems like the conference is a lot more um, one sided than I thought it would be, with Richmond and Dayton just running train on everybody else.
Yeah, that's kind of true. But what are you gonna do?
Um,
I'm trying to.
oh yeah, we got to get to the stats. We haven't even touched on that.
All right, yeah, sure.
I mean, I we've covered the 3 games. I don't have any other like big things that I wanted to point out about any of those. Did you have any other like highlights or lowlights?
Um, looking at the Davidson game. Well, I'll kind of intertwine them with the stats, I guess.
All right.
Um, I guess I'll start with so we were talking about DeMichael, right? And how his, 3-point shooting is clearly not it. Uh, by the way, these are all stats before the Davidson game, but everything's up to date, other than that game. Um, when it comes to DeMichael, you're right. His 3-point shooting, not great, 25% from
Oh
three.
God, 25.
Yeah. Um, only got worse with the 1 for 5 showing at Davidson. But you've mentioned before, you really like when he drives to the basket. He's shooting 64% from two. So that's a promising sign. And he did that a lot in the Davidson game. When he drove, he made that crazy shot going on the left-hand side in the second half. Game was over. Um, but he was driving the left-hand side, gets to the baseline, shoots a floater from the baseline, falling to his left and makes it.
Yeah,
Crazy shot.
kind of Durant-esque, honestly. Um, with how Durant kind of goes like off balance and just throws it up as he's moving past the.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, but yeah, maybe let's just stick with, the 2-point shooting, getting into the lane. I think he can probably turn into what Trey Clark has turned into this year with the drive and kick, if he can add that a little bit more to his game. This is for future,
Yeah.
not probably not this season, but just adding to his game a little bit more. It's probably something you can unlock a little bit. But I thought that was 3-point shooting's not there, but 2-point, when you're 64%, I mean, that's a big man number when you shoot that from 2-point range. Um, some other things like we talked about Rozier, his 2-point shooting. Um, he's only shooting 35% from two and only 2.5 attempts from two. Probably has a lot to do with just doesn't have the size to get to the rim and finish. And also just doesn't shoot enough. Like he doesn't get open enough to take those shots efficiently. But when he does, they look pure.
Yeah, we gotta build some screens in where he can get those mid rangers, because if I don't think it's possible, but if there was a breakdown of his shooting percentage around the rim versus like 2 pointers
I've been
outside
wanting
the
to
paint,
find that somewhere for
I know.
college basketball for so long. It's just not easily accessible.
I would think that his 2 pointers outside of the paint's probably like around 50%, and he's just terrible in the paint. That would be my
Yeah,
prediction.
no, that's reasonable. And something I wrote down, I guess, from Davidson's game, which said it 20,000 times about Jimmy Clark when he just dumps it off to the big man when he drives in sometimes. Rozier did that with Dixon in the first half, I wrote down. He should just do that a little bit more. I mean, why not? Like he can get into the paint. He has the quickness, he has the handle, doesn't turn the ball over. I think he should, I've said that with DeMichael. It's a good opportunity for easy buckets.
Yeah, the
And
key
to get and it leads to foul trouble.
the key there is going to be whether he can draw the help defense enough to have an open guy down low.
Yeah,
But
that's fair.
if you beat your guy, you should have an open look if they're not going to help defend on you. So
Yeah, and if the issue is like him getting a shot off in the paint and he's afraid that's going to get blocked or he doesn't really have a shot, dump it off either way. So, no, just an idea, just spitball
just telling him to be like Ben Simmons. That's all.
it. Well, Ben Simmons is friggin' 6'10", so he should be dunking on people. He should not be doing the dump off. Oh, you mean dump when big Trey Young is right at the rim and he could have blocked Ben Simmons' shot in was that game 7? I think it was game 7 or game 6.
It was an elimination game. I don't remember.
It was game 7. It was definitely game 7. And then, oh my God, I can't believe you just said that name. And I had to watch him destroy, or no, they got destroyed by the Mavs. He didn't play against the Sixers.
Yeah.
He
Well,
okay.
naturally he was, hurt.
Yeah, but he just came back on a minutes restriction against the Mavs that I watched the other day. Anyway,
Had to
you
add more basketball.
really riled me up
Had to
now.
add some more NBA stuff.
And then something that, we've talked about before. So I've mentioned I like box plus minus as opposed to regular plus minus. I can go through both if you want. But I'll start with box plus minus just because I feel like it's a more reliable number. So the top guys that lead our team in box plus minus is actually the lineup that you proposed, a few weeks ago that we've kind of been entertaining a little bit more. So the lead guy is Day Grant at 6.1 plus minus per game. Then second guy is Savrasov. Like I said, before that, Savrasov was that leading guy. He's at 5.8. Don't understand why. Again, the DNPs are flabbergasting to me. Then Trey Clark after that. Fusini is after that. But he's kind of that 6-man, like he can be a starter 6-man. And then Jake DeMichael and David Dixon.
And then where's Trey Williams on that list? I'm curious.
Trey Williams is negative in box plus minus.
I don't like that.
Yes.
He was rough to start the year.
Negative 2.7 box plus minus. Those are all our positive guys. Everyone else is.
Oh, everybody else is negative.
Kareem Rozier is a neutral.
Okay.
If we want to get into regular plus minus,
those probably don't look nearly as good.
They're very inflated because, for example, let me scroll down because I have every game that they've played their box minus. Cleary, Jimmy Clark was a plus 40.
Yeah.
So I could take that out. Like I did actually. I could do it right now, I guess. Well, I'll say it before and then I'll do it. So Fusini Drame on the season is plus 164 points when he's on the floor.
But only plus 100 after Cleary's removed.
Day's plus 110. Barre is minus 17 when he's on the floor. Trey Williams is minus 9 overall on the season when he's on the floor. These average out to, like Trey Williams, that averages out to about -1 per game. So it's kind of interesting. Trey Williams, I was also the most shocked about that.
He was hurt during a lot of non-con wins, so that was a lot of opportunities that he missed to rack up some positives.
Yeah, Fusini was a plus 35 in the Cleary game. So I'm going to take that out. Let's see how the numbers change. Oh, Fusini, you dropped to 129. You're slacking.
Bum.
Yeah. um. Oh God, that's not good for Trey. Minus
Yeah, I'd
20
imagine
on
not.
the season. But yeah, just it's kind of why I trust box plus minus per game
I
when
don't know why I'm asking this. How bad is Duson's without Cleary?
Dusan is surprisingly -6 on the season.
And
Not
that's
not as bad as I would think.
is that with or without Cleary?
That's without Cleary. I can do with
Okay.
Cleary. That's
With
without
Cleary.
Cleary.
With Cleary, he's probably positive then.
I think so. Yeah, +9.
Wow. Wow, he's +9 and Trey's negative. That doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, isn't that crazy? That we just kind of walked it out for people why I personally like box plus minus more. Because then you can see like Dusan on the season and box plus minus, he's -1.1 per game.
Is Ronsky bad on both metrics? He was rough analytically last year.
He's a minus overall. Minus his box plus minus, I think, is worse than his. Yeah,
Yeah.
-3.7 in box plus minus, and regular is -2.8 per game.
He's definitely the guy that's gotten the locked out of the rotation just because of shortening it up with Day back.
Yeah, I don't know. I that when I saw, I guess I'll probably be duped
That
from
St.
that St.
Joe's
Joe's
game.
game. Yeah,
That one game that
especially because I saw it in person. But
yeah,
um,
that one shot in particular.
it's not even the one shot. No, he had a good
I
game
know he had a
overall.
good game, but that one
But
shot
you're
in
right. I mean,
particular.
yes, he made a clutch, big shot.
As a
Um,
famous announcer would say, onions.
exactly. Yes. And I don't know. He's got the size too. Um, that you would really like when you get in that mid range, post area.
Yep.
So I don't know. And I thought we saw a glimpse of that in that game where we could unlock that a little bit more, but maybe not.
Off-season progression. That's what
Maybe
we're looking for.
Dambrot's not using them right. I don't know.
Off-season progression. That's what we're going to look for with Ronsky.
Yeah. Um, those are pretty much the big areas that I saw. I mean, I could just run through. I guess the Rhode Island game for Day helped his 3-point percentage quite a bit. It's now up to 34%, which is still not great, but you know,
Well, it
definitely way better than where he was.
probably dropped a little after the Davidson game because I don't think.
True.
Yeah. Where was DeMichael on box plus minus?
He's plus 1.9. So he's the lowest out of the plus players, but I mean that makes sense. He's been playing like
Yeah, he
what, eight
played no.
game basically conference play or something,
Yeah,
essentially.
he's positive when he's only played in the games that we're losing. That's crazy.
Yeah, so that probably says a lot more, to be honest. Um, and then like Savrasov's PER is 18.7. Just to put that in comparison, like Day's is 21.3, which is the highest on the team. PER, for people who don't know, is kind of like player efficiency rating.
How
Um,
effective you are when the ball's in your hands.
yeah, and 30 is like, Michael Jordan, basically, or anything above like 30 and above is
Yeah,
Michael Jordan-esque.
unreal, all pro.
25, you're probably like an all NBA player, and then, low 20s, I would say is, like you're probably hovering around all-star. So 18.7 for Savrasov on the season.
But not a starter.
No. Yeah, David Dixon. I'll go through what else did I have? David Dixon is 11th in the country in block percentage. Kind of said that one before, but just to keep everyone updated, he's still
He's
at
still
this point in
elite
the season. Yeah, it wasn't just like early season, you know, playing
against.
Cleary, for example, and just swatting everything out of the gym.
Yep, much better competition, including this guy named Deron Holmes. Pretty talented.
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Oh, and Savrasov also shoots 55% from two. Just, and we saw that in this game. He gets to the rim. He did do the elbow curl on
Yep.
that and one that he
And
got.
Noah called that out.
But hey, if they don't call it, then
It's a wise veteran move if it's not called.
oh yeah, I see him
That's all it
do
is.
that. I get away with that like 3 times a game. So it's, everyone does it.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, Jimmy Clark has a high usage rate at 29%. Anything like in the 30s is like super duper high. Uh, yeah, I don't know if you had like anything else that you're curious about that you've thought about. I probably have it.
What's the effective field goal percentage of do you actually have that set?
Yes, no,
Oh
yeah,
my
I do.
God. Effective field goal percentage of Dixon, actually.
He's highlighted green, 53% effective field goal percentage.
That's that's pretty impressive for a big man.
Yeah, it is. Fusini at 59%.
He hit a lot of clutch threes at the beginning of this year.
He's also just shooting like straight up 45% from three, and it's got to be all
Still,
from the corner.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he takes 1.4 attempts per game, but still, I mean, 45% is 45%.
Why can't more of our guys take that initiative and realize less is more right now on the 3-point shooting?
Yeah. Yeah. And like we said before, I think I can pull up the team stats. I don't want to bore everyone with just reading numbers, but I know the team stats still say we're top like 100 in attempts and bottom 100 in percentage.
I'm getting more and more frustrated thinking about all of these most effective players we have on our team. Savrasov, Drame, Dede, Trey, all at their best when they're driving to the hoop.
Right. Yeah.
DeMichael,
Yep.
all of them.
Yeah.
All of them are the offense looks the best when all those guys get the ball at the perimeter, maybe fake a shot, and just drive to the hoop because they're better at doing that than anybody that's covering them.
Now that I'm like looking at the numbers for Fusini specifically, he's playing 20 minutes a game. I think that's got to go up based on what I'm seeing. I mean, let's see.
All right, so let's figure out the big minute rotation here. We've got Dixon, who should probably be playing like high 20s, I'd say, maybe low
He's at
30s.
18.2 on the season.
Eh,
That's nuts.
That's what I'm saying. We need to figure out this big rotation right now, you and me. All right, we got Dixon, high 20s.
What a podcast this has been.
Drame,
Making up for the 30 minutes last week.
yeah. Drame should probably be like mid 20s, I'd say.
I
Uh,
can just tell I have the minutes up here, so just go
yeah,
ahead.
I understand that
No, I
they're
know,
clear,
just a
they're clear,
comparison.
right? They're clearly wrong right now. There's no question in our minds about that. How much
Yeah.
is Deuce on averaging? Like 10 in his game? Well, he missed a lot of games, so I don't know if that factors in.
No, the average should uh cancel that out. Yeah, close to 10, 9 minutes a game.
Yeah, all those need to be given to other people. Trying to think of any other. Chabi, what's he averaging left? Like 3 or 4?
10.
10?
10 on the season. I mean, those starting.
Those minutes are gone. He can get like maybe 2 if
It's
needed.
also a little hard for me to filter out like just A10
I
numbers.
understand.
I
Yeah,
could
yeah.
I
This
could do
is
that. I could probably do that if I like,
really spent a
finagled
lot.
a little bit more,
Yeah,
but
but
yeah, I
and
do have A10 team stats, but I don't have A10 player stats.
Savrasov should be about like 10 to 15. And then who's the other bigs? We got Trey. Should probably also be around 15. And there's 4. And if there's any minutes left over, I'd say give Chabi a few minutes here and there. And then I
So
guess
yeah.
and Nekis a few minutes at the 4 too.
Who's starting then?
Well, are we talking Damrot starter?
Who's
Where
starting at the 4? Because that's really the only question, Saversov or Fusini for us. We're
and that
coaching.
and that's where I go. Are we talking Dambrot's version of a starter?
No,
Because
we're coaching. We're pretty much lockstep with
I'd say
1, 2, 3, and
Fusini and Dixon
5.
are the starters at this point. I would say,
Okay, so Saversov coming off the bench.
yeah,
You have DeMichael, Day, Trey, right?
correct. With Trey,
Okay.
yep,
Yep. I
yep.
agree.
And then so the next set of rotation would be
Saversov first
Savrasov
off the bench,
as the well, yeah,
or
Savrasov
Kareem,
and
or Kareem. I mean, there's six
well,
man A, 6-man B.
yeah, I was thinking of who I'd put at the 5 between Trey and Savrasov, but those are the two bigs that come on next.
Yeah,
With Kareem and
and those guys all fit together too because I mean Saversov he shoots 30% from
but
3.
Savrasov will line up as a 4 on offense,
That's
and
what I'm
Trey,
saying.
yeah,
But that's what I'm saying. And then and his percentage is only like 31% from 3, but Trey Clark shooting the same exact percentage.
Also, I forgot to do one shout out. Trey Williams made a few threes in the Rhode Island game that you couldn't see. So shout out to Trey.
I did miss that.
Stretching the floor.
I did miss that. My stats do not have that specifically. I oversaw that on the ESPN.com.
um,
But yeah, based on the numbers, I mean, Fusini should probably be playing 5 minutes more. He's at 20.6. So I feel like if that's at 25, I know you can't just, okay, he's at 25 minutes, then like that's good. But
you think Nekis plays that 3 spot, or do we give Ronsky minutes? Who like on that bench? Like
I personally like Kronsky. I know I might be wrong. I could be wrong. I know I said early in the season I liked what I saw from Natchez, but
I think it depends on who the other guard is that's staying out there from the starters. I think if it's Day or Trey, I would probably keep
Natchez out there.
I'd put Netchus out there. If
Yeah,
it's DeMichael, I would put Bronski out there.
I can see that because Horonsky can kind of create his own shot a little bit more.
Yeah.
Is that your thought?
Yeah. And Day and Trey are gonna take up a lot of the offense
Right.
out
Right.
there.
No, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I agree. And then I think, you know, if we want to mix in another person, it would probably be Chavi.
Right.
But that would be max. Like
Chabi would
I'm
get
good
the
on.
yeah,
Sorry,
Chabi
Mahorchich, you're out.
yeah.
Sorry.
No, Chabi gets the foul trouble minutes.
Yeah.
Um
Right.
yeah, I think we found out the rotation. We solved it. And then so minutes among the guards, we've got probably all of them, all the 3 starters probably averaging around 30, with DeMichael maybe getting a little less than 30, and
Let me see
maybe
what DeMichael's at. Yeah,
well
right now this is
his
I
is
don't know.
skewed because of the non-con he
I
gets.
don't know. Yeah, I don't know. It says 16 minutes a game.
That's because he played a few minutes here and there in non-con too.
Like he played 29 against Davidson. What did he play against Rhode Island? Probably less because it was a blowout. Talking.
I'd say he's probably still finished around mid 20s, low 20s, mid 20s.
Pulling it up now. Box score.
Um,
I put it away because I didn't think I was going to reference it again. Oh yeah, 17 minutes. Well, yeah, that makes sense because it was a blowout.
well, yeah, I mean, in the games that Day wasn't in, he was definitely playing 30 minutes. There's no question.
Yeah, yeah, it's weird. I'll have to be curious on what the game log looks like, how that average it works out. But either way, yeah, he should be.
I think Kareem around 20 is good. Um,
Yeah,
no, I think we figured out this rotation and minutes allocation pretty well. I coach, if you ever need some fan interaction and just want to hear some thoughts, feel free to listen to the pod anytime.
yeah, and just to defend Trey a little bit on defense. He is 34th in steal percentage in the country. Still averaging this was around his numbers last year, 4.4 steal percentage. I think he leads the conference in steals per game, pretty sure.
Probably. I do think I thought he was in the fives for steal percentage last year, but I could be wrong.
I think he got as high as 5 and maybe came down a little bit.
That's probably true.
I think you're right that he did hit 5 at some point.
So yeah, I mean, you guys definitely got your minutes worth in this pod. I apologize if there were any lulls, but I think we did it. We solved the season, and now we're going to see if the guys will execute. It's all we can do. We've done everything we can.
We've analyzed everything you can analyze, except the A10 schedule, which I did think about while I was doing this, but I pulled the averages from the college equivalent of Sports Reference or NBA Reference.com. So reliable source, but yeah, I haven't found on there just A10 stats. Hopefully I can find it maybe.
And Coach Burt, don't worry. We think you're doing a great job with the rotation. That's why we're not deep diving that. I think it's
right.
It's
and also women's stats are a lot harder to find, like
maybe,
in a very digestible way.
Maybe lessen Meg's minutes if you can in some blowouts. That's all I'm gonna throw in there.
Which he did, 32 minutes.
Or
people forget.
Or to the contrary, really emphasize to energy companies, energy drink, battery companies, you can make her the new Energizer Bunny. Just she deserves something for this.
Yeah, Monster, Red Bull, all the. Don't drink it. Don't drink it while you're.
Definitely
don't drink the stuff. Just get paid.
Yeah. All right. And with that, go Dukes.
Go Dukes.
The Dukes are back and now it's time to rise up.